Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Daily D. And today's topic is about staying the same. Staying the same is very comfortable. We've always we've always strived to stay the same, the honest truth, right? We don't like change. I mean, some people really love change, but maybe they just love the adrenaline rush. But if you really get down to it, nobody likes to change things. Because change is uncomfortable. Change requires work. Change requires movement, and there's not a lot of people in the world that like to do that. So when I was a kid, I always wanted to fit in. In fact, I was probably not one of those kids that fit in. Right? I wasn't a cool kid. I wasn't identified as one of those people that everybody wanted to associate with. I was very different. Literally, physically, I looked different. And of course, if you can only imagine, when I was a kid, I was picked on so much for looking different. Called it so many names. I could make all these kinds of jokes about myself from when I was a kid. And I remember always trying to fit in. And when I got into high school, I really worked on that. I tried my best to fit in, and I finally got into a group of friends that I would call cool. And I went to a really small high school, so it took me from elementary, same kids that were cool in elementary kind of grew up being cool until the point where I could hang out with these cool kids. And even then, they didn't accept me because I wasn't one of those cool kids all the way to the high school, right? All the way. And so when I finally get to being cool, I realized that it felt cool, right? It felt good. And I got into hanging out with the cool people, and the cool people like to drink and party and hang out. And some of them did drugs and all those things. And well, I never got into the drugs thing, to be honest with you. I mean, I would tell you really if I did, because it would be a good story. But I did like to drink, and I drank a lot. I got into smoking because the cool kids smoked cigarettes. And I remember really wanting to be part of this group. And as I got into the group, right, I started to associate with so many different people, I had, cool relationships and networking and things of that nature. And, it was always a good feeling to be around cool people. Now, as I aged, right, and I got into college, and, in college or university, I really wasn't a smart kid. I was trying to find myself. In fact, I moved to another town, and I didn't really know anybody there, and nobody I went to school with in high school went to this school either. So it was kind of cool because I get to recreate myself, and I decided to recreate myself as a cool kid again. And so I started to act differently, talk differently, dress differently, be a different person, which gave me the opportunity to change who I was. Now, that change really was a decision that I made not because I wanted change because it was comfortable. I changed because I thought I could get to another level in my life, like associate with different people, maybe get different girls. That was the honest truth. And I did, right? I changed who I was. I was more confident. I was more outgoing because nobody knew who I was before. In fact, when I was in high school, I wasn't outgoing. I wasn't confident. I didn't speak up. I didn't have a good communication process, if you will. And so when I was getting older, as I got into my mid 20s, I realized that the people that I was hanging out with in my high school years, and maybe some that I was hanging out with in my college years, even though they were cool, they really didn't have the same ambition that I did. And it wasn't because I inherently thought in my mind I was just going to be somebody important or own a business. It was that I could tell that they had different priorities. And my priorities weren't business, right? My priorities were really trying to figure out life. And a lot of them didn't want to figure out life, they just wanted the things to be the same. And as I started to figure out what I wanted to do, I started to associate with different people, and then, more and different people and different people and different people. And for the last, let's say, 12 years, the group of people that I've associated with from 12 years ago to today is not the same. And it's changed. Like, I can remember so many of the first people that I would network with when I first got into business. Today, I wouldn't hang out with them. I just wouldn't. And it's not because they're bad people, or, they're not nice people. It's they don't have the same ambition as me. And, recently I hung out with a friend that I've actually had since high school, and this was a few weeks ago, anyways. And he was talking to me, and we had been drinking, and usually when people get drunk, they tell the truth, right? And he referenced something to me that was really interesting, And he says, David, a lot of people think that you're not cool anymore, that you're, he didn't say arrogant, but I think that's kind of what he was trying to tell me, that you kind of think you're better than most people. And when he said that to me, it really clicked in my head that, do people really not understand that sometimes you've got to grow? Sometimes you got to grow, not go. Sometimes you got to change. So he was actually talking about people that I used to hang out with that think this of me, that I don't hang out with anymore, that I don't associate with. Like I mentioned, I don't hang out with the same people. And he was telling me this because he thought he was trying to help me. Like, hey, you need to chill. You need to, become more humble about life. And in that very moment, I realized something, that not everybody is going to believe in you, and not everybody's going to agree with the stance you take, the ambition that you have, the goals that you set. Not everybody's going to believe it. But the challenge here is that the people that get far in life are the ones that say, hey, I appreciate that you don't agree with me, and I appreciate, you don't have to tell people this, but the people that get far in life are the people that say, hey, I appreciate that we don't have the same goals and ambition, but here's what I want to do. I'm just going to push forward no matter what. And I'll meet new people along the way. And if you don't want to jump on the wagon with me, that's cool. You don't have to. And he made me realize that I have done the right things. I pushed in the right direction. I don't hang out with the same people, because those same people, when they get together, they talk about the same things. Remember in high school, remember in college, you remember that one time? That's all they talk about. They don't talk about ideas. When I get together with people, I want to know ideas, right? I want to know, hey, let's talk about what you want to do with your life. Where are you going to go? What are you going to get? How are you going to get there? Right? Talk to me. What can we do together? How can we work together? How can we put something together? That's what I want to talk about. Why? Because that's where I want to go. I want to go far. Many people will never understand what you want to do in life. But I'll tell you this, you need to get away from the people who don't have ambition, people who don't want more, people who aren't pushing you, people who only talk about the past. The past is called the past for a reason. You don't need to go back there. You need to only go forward. You want to talk to people who talk about the future. You want to hang out with people who want to move in a forward motion, not a backwards motion, that they only have one drive, which is forward. You want to talk to those people every single day. And getting around people who want to talk about the past all day, or only want to focus on what you changed to, you got to get rid of that stuff. And I say that because, at the end of the day, every time I've ever achieved anything great in life, it's always because of a new connection. It's always because I networked. Here's my last story. I want to share this with you because 12 years ago, I met a guy. Never met him in person, but I talked to a guy over the phone about a business opportunity 12 years ago. And that person just so happened to be in a very similar industry to me at the time, but I didn't know much about this. I was brand new to the tax industry and I didn't know much about it. But this gentleman, if you will, was in the business, if you will, related to taxes, and had worked in the business, had some stores in the business, and was really doing some good stuff. And I didn't know who I was talking to at the time because I just called the phone number that somebody gave me. And as I started to talk to this person, I realized, hey, I think we could do something together, but I couldn't figure it out. I was too naive. I was too dumb. I was too immature. I was just too early, if you will, in the stage of my career that I couldn't make a deal, or I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't connect the dots. So, I had a conversation. We didn't do anything, and that's it. Fast forward 12 years later, same gentleman I run into coincidentally. Actually 11 years, and then 12 is this year. 11 years later, I connect with somebody, that same guy, coincidence. Ran into him at an event, didn't even know it was the same guy, introduced myself, realized that this person was somebody that I had connected with 11 years ago. I said, hey, we've got to work together. Can we connect? And I intentionally connected with this guy. I intentionally pushed into the market, if you will. I intentionally said, hey, can we talk? Can I get your number? Let's connect. And over the last year, all I've done is nurture that relationship. And today, that relationship is making a deal for me that really is going to change my life. Literally change my life. For my family, for the people that are around me. I know that because I nurtured a relationship 11 years ago, but I was too naive and too young to figure that out. Today I understand about relationships. I understand about networking because it's who you hang out with. It's who you associate with that pushes you. All right. I hope this has helped you understand that you should be trying to hang out with new people. You should be pushing. You should be working. You should look for change because change is good. Stop hanging out with the same people. Find some new friends. Now, actually, don't ever, by the way, this is the disclaimer and I'm done. Don't ever forget about the people along the way. That's not what I'm telling you. I would never disassociate with the people that I love and cared about from high school to college to whatever. In every stage of my career and life, I've had a different group of friends. Don't ever disassociate with them. Don't ever disrespect them. That's not what I'm telling you to do. It's just understand where you allocate your time. Invest your time in people who want to invest in you. I appreciate you guys. Stay humble, happy, healthy, wealthy, successful, but most importantly, live with freedom. Thanks, guys.